If your team got guaranteed money, tell them call me.
Make me say, my. I done been around the world.
Yeah, I was made for this.
Player performance.
Welcome to the Why Lose Soccer Show. I'm your host, Noel, and we have our resident football expert in the house, Neil, today. So we have a big game to preview this weekend. In my opinion, one of the biggest games. The Champions League is my favourite football tournament, and we have PSG, Paris Saint-Germain, and Inter Milan playing. So this is a big one for both teams. Inter haven't been in the final in a couple of years where they lost, and then they haven't won the Champions League since 2010. So they're a 15-year drought. But on the other side of things, PSG have never won the Champions League. In my opinion, they are the best European team to never win the highest honour there is. And then they're coming off a great season in their league where they absolutely ran away with it. And Inter just barely missed out on the Serie A title by 1 point to Napoli. So both teams are going to really want this one. Neil, you're here to help us make a bit of money on this. So how are the markets currently reacting to this game as we close in on it?
Well, kind of as expected, we're seeing some public sentiment on PSG. PSG, obviously, they're playing the more attractive football. We've seen a big shift in public opinion on PSG after that Liverpool, the two legs against Liverpool, where they, we're so used to seeing PSG falter at the round of 16 or quarter-final leg. And they've Luis Enrique, he's built a real team, not built around superstars. We have seen in the past, like with Neymar, Messi, the Mbappe, like too many stars in the team. It didn't work. Now they have a team. They're functioning well. Their underlying metrics since Mbappe left are actually better, not only in attack but defensively. So it does seem like PSG have finally arrived. It seems like it is their year. Yeah. I know Inter do have the experience behind them from 2 years ago against Manchester City. Mm-hmm. But I do agree with the market here. PSG are about plus 120 to win the game in 90 minutes. I have seen some advanced models that are showing, basically they're giving PSG about a 53 to 54% chance, which would be an implied odds of about minus 110. I actually agree more with the market at the moment. I think the plus 120 that we're seeing is pretty much on point.
Okay, and we're a couple of days out now as we're recording this, and then as the bettors and the fans start to look at this market and get their money on, how do we see the markets changing as we get closer to kickoff?
I think public opinion is going to continue to be in favor of PSG. I think we could see the line close even shorter, maybe closer to plus 100. But also I think the sharp money as well, because if we're looking at other, the games in the semi-final against Arsenal, the games against Liverpool, the market did show a lot of support for PSG in those games. So sharps and the public alike seem to believe that it is PSG's year.
Yeah, I know in France you're going to have a lot of people outside Paris who don't really root for PSG, but I think they are a fan favourite, definitely throughout Europe. Definitely in Ireland, they're a fan favourite. People like to see them doing well.
Yeah, I did hear an interesting thing yesterday. Apparently in Marseille, they hate PSG there. They've completely sold out of Inter Milan jerseys. So not everybody in France is going to be supporting PSG.
Yeah.
In the final.
I've a friend of mine, Noel Boss. He's from Paris, big PSG fan. So I'm going to watch the game with him. So yeah, I'll be looking forward to that. Okay, so you touched on it earlier on with Inter's experience and just having that recent final as well. And when it comes to Europe, most years are thereabouts. How big a factor is that going to be as we get to that final day and the big stage, or the players step up to that big stage?
Yeah, I mean, a lot has been made of Inter Milan's experience at this level. Obviously they had the final 2 years ago against Manchester City, and the core of the team is still there. I think it's 6 or 7 of the starting 11 that are expected to play here played in that final. But I think it's been a little bit oversold. I think PSG, although I think they're one of the youngest or the youngest squad in the competition, they've shown this a level of maturity that we haven't seen from PSG ever. So,
and is that the Luis Enrique influence? Is his experience? Is he?
Well, I mean, like, he's a proven winner. He's actually had 10 finals in his career, and he's won all 10. So he's
All
obviously
10.
has a positive impact. He's won this trophy before with Barcelona.
Yeah.
But yeah, him, the director of football who they brought in, Luis Campos, they put together a real team. There's no divas in there, and they're functioning. They have chemistry. So yeah, I don't think the experience and age factor goes really in Inter's favor. And in terms of the age factor as well, you touched on it earlier that Inter were pushed all the way in the Scudetto run-in up until the last day. They've been competing on all fronts. They got to the semi-final of the Coppa Italia. In that Barcelona game, the semi-final, they were showing real signs of fatigue. So the fact that PSG wrapped up League 3 weeks ago, they've been on cruise control. They did have a cup final last weekend against Stade Reims. That was another game where they didn't have to break a sweat. They ran out 3-0 winners, comfortable.
Okay.
So they're fully fit, ready to go. Whereas Inter could be the more fatigued of the two because of that Scudetto run-in. So
right up to last weekend, yeah, they had to win every game and they just missed out. Okay, so before we started recording, you mentioned that you had a couple of props that you were pretty excited about. Do you want to jump into those?
Yeah, there's one in particular that I really like, and it's for Inter. It's Hakan Çalhanoğlu. So I like Çalhanoğlu to score here. You will need to shop around, but at the time of recording, we're seeing prices of about plus 700, which is huge in my opinion. Why so big? Well, because he's the designated penalty taker for Inter Milan. Okay. The referee for this game, I forget his name, but I was looking at the stats yesterday. He's given, I think this season, he's given a penalty on average 1 every 2 games.
Okay. So he's not.
That's a factor too. So
he's not afraid to blow that whistle. And
no, he's not. He's not. So Çalhanoğlu, he scored 12 from 12 from the spot last season. He scored, I think it's 7 from 8 this season in all competitions. He's also a threat from open play. He's a great striker of the ball. He will take any dangerous set pieces from around the box. So yeah, I like Çalhanoğlu to score plus 700. I also like Çalhanoğlu. Some books might have this market where it's the player to score or assist. I like the assist part of it because Çalhanoğlu will take all Inter's corners. And Inter Milan are a huge threat from corners. They are by far the best at converting corners into goals in this competition. Yeah. We've seen that against Barcelona. They scored twice. PSG, although they haven't given up a ton of goals from set pieces, they're not as physical. They're not a very big team. So Inter, I think, can bully them a little bit in that respect. Okay. So yeah, I like Çalhanoğlu to score and assist. I think to score an assist line might be about plus 225. I want to say. Yeah. But yeah, if you're looking to put that in a same game parlay, just to boost up the odds for a bit of interest, I'd do that.
That 12 from 12 penalties, I didn't realize I knew he was the penalty taker. I didn't realize he had that good a record.
He's lethal. He's lethal. Okay. He scored against Barcelona too. I actually have some other props on the shot market if you want me to run through them.
Yeah, let's go. That's what people are here for.
Yeah, so Bastoni, the centre back for Inter Milan, he's plus 600 to have a shot on target. He's going to be an aerial threat from set pieces, like we talked about. Inter will have an advantage there, but also Inter Milan play very fluid. They, their centre backs will often roam forward. Mm-hmm. I know they play 3 at the back. Acerbi will be the more central of the back 3, but the other 2, so Bastoni on the left and Bisek on the right, those 2, they interchange with the central midfielders, and they'll roam forward while the central midfielders drop back. So it's very common to see Bastoni, roam forward, get on the end of a header, not afraid to take a shot either. So the plus 600 is a line that appeals to me. Also Denzel Dumfries, who, we said, scored twice against Barcelona. He's plus 225 to have a shot on target. Now he's a lot more active in terms of shots per 90. He gets off about 1.5 shots per game. The reason I like this so much, though, is a lot of Inter Milan's attacks come down the left. So DeMarco on the left, swinging in these deep balls with Dumfries arriving at the back post. I can see that scenario playing out a lot. Dumfries, huge aerial threat as well from corners. And yeah, he's just a bit of a beast. I think he's going to have a big impact. Also, not afraid to have a pop from open play. And just the last shot prop will be on the PSG side. Fabian Ruiz, he's plus 137 to have a shot on target. PSG, they generate a lot of their attacks from cutbacks. So we know really talented wingers, right? But their fullbacks as well, Hakimi and Mendes, bombing forwards. They get in deep, they cut the ball back, but they don't cut it back to the 6-yard box. They cut it back a lot deeper. So I can see PSG's central midfielders getting off some shots. Particularly Ruiz, he's pretty technically gifted. I do like him to hit the target. And I think he'll play more advanced than Vitinha, who will probably drop deeper. So yeah, they're the three shot props I like in the game.
Okay, so now that you mentioned that threat for PSG coming down the wing, cutting it back, kind of like those FIFA goals I heard you're famous for scoring.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so with such a big game, there's going to be a lot of focus on the team news and the strength of each of the squads as we get closer to game day. So what's the team news looking like now?
Well, the good news is, both sides look like they're going to be at full strength at the time of recording. So we're recording this on Wednesday. There's no significant injuries on either side. There was some concern about Lautaro Martinez for Inter Milan. Inzaghi came out yesterday, said he could have played in Inter's last game, but they decided to rest him. So everybody full strength. So I don't think there's going to be any surprises unless somebody gets injured in the lead up.
Okay, so but two full strength squads. So I think with such, considering they both had such good seasons, it'd be great to see that.
Yeah.
Now, as we were bouncing around stats before this and sharing some interesting stats with each other, I had to look up this one because I didn't quite believe it because I was trying to remember through the season. So you said that Inter have only spent 16 minutes losing in the Champions League all this season. So there's only been 16 minutes of gameplay where they've been behind.
It's completely absurd. That
includes the new league stage this year at the beginning.
Yeah, more games. So it works out like 1% of the time they've spent trailing, which has to be some kind of record. But it's also meant that they've been able to control games quite easily. When Inter take a lead, they can dictate more the pace of the game, I guess. Inter, I'm not going to put too much weight into the fact that that's happened. I think if they get unsettled early, like we've seen PSG in recent games, like even against Liverpool when they went to Anfield or against Arsenal when they went to the Emirates, they came out of traps so fast. They were very aggressive. So I think part of the game plan here for Luis Enrique is going to be to score first, score early, be super aggressive out of gate, and look to take a lead. And I think if PSG can get into the lead, it's going to really unsettle Inter.
You're just not used to that position this season.
Exactly.
Okay, and we touched a little bit on the managers earlier on, and we keep mentioning their names because they're such a big factor coming into this game. You mentioned Enrique's record in finals. What's Inzaghi like when he gets to this stage in the tournament? Because I know he's had plenty of finals as a manager, but what did the stats look like? What did they tell us?
Well, he has developed a bit of a reputation for being a great cup manager and a final manager. With Inter, he's believe he's taken them to 7 finals and he's won 5 of those. He also had success when he was at Lazio as well. So yeah, I mean, 2 absolutely elite coaches. I would give the edge to Luis Enrique. Like we said, 10 for 10 in finals. And he's done wonders with this PSG team that we never thought we'd see, playing this level, like going to teams like Liverpool and Arsenal, dominating them, disciplined, mature performances. Another thing, I don't know if this is just media trying to unsettle Inter before the final, but there is talk that Inzaghi's on his way out of Inter Milan and that he's been approached by a Saudi side with huge contract. So
big money move.
I don't know if that's just to unsettle Inter or not, but yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't give it is what it is.
Yeah. Now, this is one of my favorite lines, is the goal line. How are we feeling about over 2.5 in this game? I'm confident.
A lot of people do like the under, because it's a final, it's a Champions League. The last few Champions Leagues have been pretty low scoring. I think we've had a lot of 1-0s in there. A couple of we had 2-0 last year. Both teams to score hasn't really landed much. But I like the over here. A bit of money has actually come in on the over too. It was plus 100 yesterday. I think it's come into about minus 105 today. I think it's gonna shorten a little bit more. I actually like the over here for a couple of reasons. I'll start with PSG. So obviously PSG have a significant threat going forward. They are also defensively not as good as results indicate. So going off my my own metrics, looking at their campaign as a whole, they took on, I think it was 7 what I'd consider elite sides. They played Arsenal 3 times. They had Liverpool, they had Atletico Madrid in the league phase. So from those 7 games, we can see PSG are averaging about 1.6 expected goals against, meaning that based on the chances that they're giving to opponents, their opponents should have been averaging about 1.6 goals per game. So they're not as good defensively as results indicate. We did mention the vulnerability from set pieces and the Inter just being so good. So I do believe Inter can score, which is one of the reasons why I like the over so much. Also, this edition of the Champions League has been very, very high scoring. I think it's the highest scoring in the past decade. 3.26 goals per game. Inter Milan now also have a reputation. Italian teams tend to have reputations for just being tough to break down, very defensive. They're gonna sit in deep, counter attack. But we look at Inter's league phase. A lot has been said about the fact they only conceded 1 goal from those games in the league phase, which is
it was eight games in the league phase, and 1 goal.
Yeah, and no, isn't it 12 games? Let me check here. Oh no, it's 8 games.
No, league was 8, yeah.
Yeah, so they gave up 1 goal, but their expected goals against again was much higher. So kind of fortunate to have only conceded once. Now, if we look at the sample of 4 games against Bayern Munich and Barcelona, we'd put those teams on a similar peg to PSG in terms of attacking output and quality. We can see from that 4-game sample, Inter allowing about 19 shots per game, 2.5 goals against per game, and an even higher 2.7 expected goals against per game. If this plays out how I think it will, with PSG starting fast and scoring early, I think the over 2.5 is nailed on. I don't like putting too much weight into historical results and finals. I want to look at the matchup here, and Luis Enrique anyway. He is not a manager that is going to play. He's not going to play tentatively. He's going to take the game to Inter.
Yeah.
So hopefully we get an open one.
Yeah, and then PSG aren't afraid of scoring goals either. I think in League One they've had 94, 95 goals this season. They're
Yeah.
absolutely banging them in. And that front three, I'd say for any team that comes up against them must be absolutely terrifying as a defender. So how big a deal is this front line going to be? Like, are they going to struggle to break down that Italian defense? And you mentioned the kind of famous Italian teams are just difficult to break down.
Yeah.
So how hard is this front line going to have against the Inter defense?
The quality, not only the quality they have in attack, but tactically, PSG have so many different looks. They're not one dimensional. They're not like a team that's just going to swing in crosses nonstop. Dembele, in particular, who was really stood in for Mbappe, he's got 33 goals this season, 11 assists. He's been kind of a Swiss Army knife. He can do so much. He can pull defenses out of position. Then we have, the two kids on the wings, Barcola and Doué, very technically gifted, extremely fast. And then also they brought in Kvaratskhelia in the winter window. Now, while Kvaratskhelia isn't as much of a speed demon as those other ones, he's brought in a lot of creativity, which was one thing that PSG were missing. So, they have those four players. One of them will be on the bench, likely, I don't know, Barcola or Doué. But just the fact that they can even bring one of those players off the bench to change things up is huge. Their fullbacks are probably, going forward at least, maybe the best in the world. In Hakimi and Mendes. So yeah, they do. They have a frightening attack, and they should be good to score multiple times here, in my opinion.
Okay, well, I'm betting on goals for this game. Okay, so I'm just conscious we're coming up to time, and I've been jotting down these lines as we go through the game, or as we've gone through this episode. But just to wrap up everything and have a nice little clip for that the guys can snip and put on a short. What are your run through what your best bets are for this game?
Yeah, so the official plays. So the one we just touched on, over 2.5 total goals. This is currently about -105, and this is going to be the main play. This is going to be a 2-unit play. And then moving on to the props, we've got Hakan Çalhanoğlu to score. Currently +700. Shop around, you could find better prices. This is just going to be a 0.1 unit play. Çalhanoğlu to score or assist. I think this is about plus 225. We're going to be going again 0.1 units on this. Bastoni shot on target, +600. Another small stake. These are lunch money bets. Another 0.1 unit on Bastoni. Dumfries, this is I'm going to go a little bit higher stake on this. Dumfries shot on target, +225. I'm going to quarter unit on that. And then Fabian Ruiz, a shot on target, +137. I'm going to quarter unit on that as well.
Okay, and so that's a nice selection of bets for this game. Plenty for people to get involved in there. So, and then I know, as always, and you've touched on this a few times throughout this, that these are the current odds and current prices we're looking at. It's really important to make sure you shop around and you get the best prices, because it's all about getting as much getting as much of an edge as possible. So shop around. And then what other advice do we have for people coming up to this one?
Just, keep your stakes sensible, obviously. I mean, a lot of these bets that I have mentioned, they are kind of, fun lunch money bets that maybe you can throw into a single leg parlay. If you're looking at, a more serious play, I think the overs is where it's at. Some of you are probably going to want me to give out, who lifts the trophy. I do think it's PSG's year.
Okay.
The current line's about +120. I said, that's probably about right. So, not much value there in my opinion, but other than that, I mean, it's very hard to pick out value in these types of games, because the volume, the amount of money that's pouring into these markets makes the line so much sharper.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, to me, they're the best value plays on the board currently.
Okay. I think for me, I'm rooting for, and I'm a big Inter fan. I always have been, but I think I'm rooting for PSG in this one and over on goals.
Yeah, same here.
They're my two to keep me. The overs always keeps you interested to the end, so that's one of my favorites.
I hate backing the under. I mean, sometimes you have to, but it's so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
No, not with PSG involved. No way, and not after what Inter did to us in the semi-final against Barcelona. What was it, 8-7 on aggregate or something? It was mental.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that's us. So thanks everybody for tuning into the Why Lose Soccer Show on our Champions League preview. If you like this kind of episode, make sure you like, share, review, do whatever you need to do so that we know you liked it and we can make more previews for more big games coming up. And Neil, thank you very much.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure, and we'll do it again soon.
Chat soon.
Take care.
Cut my life into pieces. This is my last resort. Suffocation, no breathing. Don't give a fuck if I cut my own.